The sky was red above planet Urna. Twin suns burned slowly behind black clouds. On a high cliff stood a man, quiet and alone. His name was Toran. Toran was not like other soldiers. He didn't shout. He didn't run. He waited. His eyes were always calm. His hand never shook. He was the best human marksman in the Outer Rim. His job today was clear: kill the alien general hiding in the valley city below. The alien, a Choral commander named Threx, had destroyed 3 human colonies. He led an army of machines and beasts. Many had tried to stop him. All had failed. Now, command sent Toran. Toran lay flat on a black rock. He wore a heat-canceling suit. No one could see him, not even the satellites above. His long-range rifle was custom-made. It could shoot over 5 kilometers through air, fog, or rain. But Toran didn't trust only his eyes. He used a smart scope. It showed enemy movement using live satellite feed, heartbeat sensors, and AI predictions. It told him when to shoot and when to wait. He waited now. Inside the city, the alien General Threx moved through the shadow of tall buildings. Around him walked guards in silver armor. Giant machines flew overhead. But Toran didn't look at them. He only followed one red dot on his scope. The general. Time passed. Slowly. Then, the general stopped. He stood in an open plaza. No cover. No roof. No guards close enough to block a bullet. Toran took a deep breath. He pressed the scope button. It said, "Satellite lock. Wind normal. Heartbeat steady. Clear to fire." Toran aimed at Threx's chest. His finger touched the trigger. In his mind, he counted. 3, 2, 1, fire. The shot echoed like thunder. The bullet flew faster than sound. It should have hit the general in less than 2 seconds. But something was wrong. The red dot on the scope blinked, then vanished. Toran frowned. He zoomed in. The general was gone. The bullet hit empty ground. Smoke rose. Screams followed. Toran whispered, "How?" He blinked and checked the system again. Then his screen flashed a red message. Alert. Satellite delay detected. Signal lag. 30 seconds. He froze. If the image was 30 seconds old, then the general had moved already. The shot was useless. Suddenly, another alert. Motion detected. 3 meters behind. Toran turned fast, but not fast enough. Behind him stood a tall figure in black. A blade glowed in her hand. Her silver eyes stared into his. Her name was Vela. She was Sithari, a shadow assassin, fast, quiet, and deadly. Her race didn't use guns. They used blades and body speed. No tech, no noise. Toran rolled away just as the blade cut the air where his head had been. Dust flew. Rocks cracked. He jumped behind a small boulder and pulled out a flash charge. With one throw, light exploded across the cliff. Even Vela had to close her eyes. That was enough. Toran ran. Down the hill. Fast. He didn't look back. He stopped 5 minutes later, breathing hard, hidden between tall stones. His left shoulder was bleeding, just a scratch, but still, it was close, too close. Toran pressed his communicator. "Command, this is Toran. Target escaped. Mission failed. Assassin engaged me." Sci-Fi female. Highly skilled. A voice replied, "Understood. Retreat approved. New orders soon." Toran shut the device and looked up at the darkening sky. "She was already behind me," he whispered. "Before I even fired." He sat, in silence. He had never missed before. He had never been hunted before. Now, things were different. Back on the cliff, Vela stood in the smoke. Her blade hummed softly. Her eyes scanned the ground. He was fast, she thought. Most men freeze when they see death. He moved. She looked at the broken scope left on the rock. She touched it gently. "Human tech," she whispered. But his hands were faster than the machine. She turned, and walked away. Her steps made no sound. She had a message to send to her command and a new name to add to her list, Toran. That night, stars shone above Yurna. A silent war had started. Two shadows, human and alien, now hunted each other. One used tech. The other, instinct. One aimed from far. The other struck from close. They were both killers. But only one would survive the next meeting. The space shuttle moved quietly through the stars. Inside it sat Toran, alone in the dark. He had left planet Yurna 2 hours ago. His mind was still not calm. The mission had failed. Not because he missed the shot, but because someone had beaten his bullet. Vela, the alien assassin. She moved faster than any sniper could think. She was already behind him before the scope even showed danger. Toran sat in the dark cabin, checking the small wound on his shoulder. It was healing, but his pride was not. He had trained for years. He had killed from 10 kilometers away. But this time, his enemy had touched his neck before he even pulled the second trigger. He looked at his rifle, lying beside him. It was strong, clean, sharp, but useless if the enemy could reach him first. He knew one thing. He had to change. If he wanted to win, he had to move faster than a machine. He had to think like her. Far away, on a black moon covered in ice, Vela stepped into her quiet chamber. No light, no sound, only frost and silence. She placed her glowing blade on a stone table. Then she sat, legs crossed, hands resting on her knees. She breathed slowly, in, out. She let go of her thoughts. But one face stayed in her mind. Toran. He had escaped her strike. That was rare. He had used a flash bomb. That was human. He had no fear in his eyes. That was different. Interesting, she whispered. Most of her targets begged, cried, or tried to fight. He had done none of those. He had surprised her. Vela stood and walked to a wall made of black glass. It showed the stars outside. She touched the glass, thinking. Her master had told her many times, never underestimate a human. Now she understood. Why? Back at the human space base called Outpost Redfall, Toran met Commander Bryn. Bryn was an old soldier with one arm made of metal. He had seen many wars. You failed the mission, Bryn said, but you're alive. That's something. Toran nodded. She was faster than anything I've seen. The scope didn't see her. She came from nowhere. Bryn leaned back. A Sithari, you say? Yes. Blade user. No tech. Bryn looked serious. Then you're lucky you're breathing. The Sithari don't miss. But if she spared you, maybe she wants to test you. That's worse, Toran asked. What do we do now? Bryn smiled. We give you a new mission. Find her, learn her moves, beat her. Toran raised an eyebrow. You want me to hunt her? No, Bryn said. I want you to prepare. She'll come again. But next time you won't be aiming from far. You'll need to fight up close. Toran looked at his hands. They had only known rifles and scopes, not blades or fists, but he nodded. I'll learn. Vela stood in front of her own commander now, a tall, four-eyed alien named Kresha. She bowed low. You failed, Kresha said coldly. Vela did not speak. You had the shot. The human escaped. I chose not to kill him, Vela replied. Kresha's eyes narrowed. Why? He was fast. He thought quickly. He fought with skill. He is different. Kresha walked around her like a shadow. Are you saying you respect him? No. I want to understand him. Before I end him. Kresha paused. Then she smiled. Then do it. Study him. Break him. Vela bowed again. Yes, master. For the next few weeks, Toran trained with an old instructor named Luro, a human master of close combat. Luro didn't use guns, Only hands, sticks, and old blade tricks. "You want to fight a Sithari?" Luro asked one day. Toran nodded. "Then forget your tech. Forget your speed. Focus on feeling." Luro taught him to fight blindfolded, to hear the air move, to read steps on the floor. Toran fell many times, but he got up every time. His fingers learned to move fast. His heart learned to stay calm. His mind began to see patterns before they happened. Vela, on the other side of the galaxy, did the same. She trained with a strange machine that created illusions of human moves. She watched recordings of Toran's old missions, how he breathed, when he fired, how long he waited. She practiced dodging bullets. She practiced attacking from different angles. She even trained inside a spinning room where gravity changed every second. "Humans change too fast," she said to herself. "I must become faster than their change." One night, Toran stood on the roof of the training hall. He looked at the stars. He spoke quietly. "I know you're watching me, Vela. I don't know how, but I feel it." A breeze passed by. He smiled a little. "I'll be ready next time." And far, far away, Vela sat in her frozen room, watching a small screen that showed Toran's training. She too smiled. "I know," she whispered. "I'll be ready too. 2 worlds, 2 warriors, both watching, both waiting. The next meeting would not be from 5 kilometers away. The next time, they would meet face to face. The stars above Station Archon blinked like small eyes watching in silence. The station floated near a dying planet, far from any patrols or travel routes. It was quiet, cold, empty, and yet 2 of the galaxy's deadliest warriors had chosen this place to meet again, not to talk, to learn, to test, to fight. Toran stood inside a rusted metal room, once used as a mining control center. He wore a black suit that carried no weapons this time, only a small blade and his own trained body. The machines here were broken. No cameras, no satellite eyes. He chose this place for one reason: no tech interference. He had trained his mind and body for weeks. No more long-distance attacks. No more fancy gear. This time he was trusting something else, his instincts. He had learned something from Vela. The brain is faster than the bullet if you train it to be. Far above him, moving through the upper levels of the station, Vela walked slowly. She had received the message days ago. No guns, no drones. Just one room, one answer. And she accepted. But she was not foolish. She had studied the layout of this old place. She had walked it in her mind. She had trained for this kind of fight. No blade, no tricks, just speed, timing, and understanding. Toran wanted to test her again. She would not disappoint him. Toran closed his eyes and stood still in the middle of the room. His ears listened. His breath slowed. His feet felt every vibration through the steel floor. No cameras, no drones, just senses. Suddenly, a soft creak. Toran turned quickly, blade ready, but no one was there. Another sound, this time from the left wall. He didn't move, he simply waited. Then, from above, a silent figure dropped like a shadow. Vela. She attacked fast, hands aimed at his neck. But Toran had already stepped aside. He swung his blade. She blocked it with her wrist guard, sparks flying. Their eyes met for just 1 second. Then the fight began. This time, there was no smoke. No flash, no talk, only movement. Vela struck high. Toran ducked. Toran kicked low. Vela flipped backward. They moved around each other like dancers. But their dance was deadly. Vela noticed something quickly. He was reading her. Every strike she used, he was 1 step ahead. Not because he was faster, but because he understood her now, her timing, her angles, her rhythm. He had studied her well, but so had she. She suddenly stopped, waited. Toran paused, too. He narrowed his eyes. Why did you— Stop? She smiled. Because now, I want to know what you do when nothing moves. Torin took a breath, then charged forward, something she didn't expect. He feinted left, then spun to her right. He caught her arm, twisted, and dropped her to the ground. But she rolled, kicked his leg, and stood again. They both bled now, small cuts, nothing serious, but real. They stood across from each other, breathing heavy. Your moves are cleaner now, she said. Toran nodded. Your hesitation helped me. Vela tilted her head. That wasn't hesitation. That was control. Toran replied, even control has patterns. Outside, the stars continued to blink. Inside, the two warriors moved again, this time slower. Smarter, not wild. Toran tried something new. He closed his eyes while attacking. Vela raised a brow. You're fighting blind? He nodded. I see more when I don't look. She attacked fast. He moved perfectly. Block, step, counter. Then suddenly he stopped. He had a chance to strike, but he didn't. He opened his eyes, looked at her. Don't want to kill you, he said. She froze. This wasn't a trick. His voice was honest. Vela asked, then why did you call me here? To understand, he said. We keep fighting, we grow stronger, but why are we enemies? Vela stepped, back slowly. Because we were told to be, he nodded. Then maybe we can choose something else. Silence. Vela stared at him. She could feel the truth in his words. And deep inside her, something strange moved, a thought she had never allowed before. What if she didn't have to finish him? What if she could learn from him instead? She turned away. I won't fight you today, she said. Toran nodded. Then we've both won. She jumped up to a higher level and disappeared into the shadows. Toran sat down on the cold floor. He closed his eyes again. He had learned something today. Victory isn't always about ending the fight. Sometimes it's about understanding your enemy so deeply that the fight loses meaning. Vela returned to her ship in silence. She placed her blade down and looked out at the stars. In her heart, a quiet voice spoke. He fights with honor. He learns. He adapts. He questions. She had never respected anyone before, but now she respected one, Toran. In that quiet night, two warriors rested, not as enemies, not as friends, but as something else, rivals who had begun to understand each other. The war was not over, but their next meeting would not be just another battle. It would be a test of purpose, and perhaps something greater. The twin suns of planet Raxa hung low in the sky. One was red, the other golden. Their heat mixed with dry wind, turning the desert into an oven. The planet was empty, dead. No cities, no machines, just sand, rocks, and silence. But Toran had come here with a purpose. He stood on a cliff of black stone, scanning the horizon. A small camp behind him held supplies, but he carried only what he needed: a short blade, a signal jammer, a breathing mask, and his courage. This was not a war zone. It was a trap, his trap, and he was waiting. Far across the dunes, Vela's ship landed without sound. She stepped out, eyes hidden behind a thin visor, skin already feeling the heat. But she didn't complain. She had trained in fire worlds before. She had received Toran's message. Come to Raxa, one last lesson. No tricks, no lies, just a time and a place. She had accepted, not because she had to, but because she wanted to see what Toran had become. She didn't bring any weapons this time, just her curved blade and her sharp senses. The wind blew her cloak behind her as she walked alone across the sand. From the cliff, Toran watched her approach. He didn't smile. He didn't move. He simply waited. As she reached the base of the cliff, he stepped down the slope and stopped 10 meters from her. They stood under the twin suns, facing each other. No words, no fear. Only a long silence. Finally, Vela spoke first. "You brought me to a dead world," Toran replied. "Dead to some, but perfect for us." Vela raised an eyebrow. "A final battle?" Toran shook his head. "No. A final understanding." They walked to a nearby canyon, deep and narrow. Sharp rocks lined the walls. The wind made soft music through the cracks. Toran led the way and Vela followed. Inside the canyon, the air was cooler. Shadows danced on the ground. Toran stopped, turned to her. "There are no cameras, no satellites, no sound recorders, only us." Vela looked around. "You planned all this?" "Yes," he said. "I needed to know something." She folded her arms. "And what is that?" Toran took a slow breath. "If we were never told to fight, would we have become enemies?" Vela's eyes narrowed slightly. "I don't know. I only followed orders. So did you." "But not anymore," he said. She stayed quiet. Then he said, "Let's finish it. No tricks, no blood, just skill." She nodded. They moved to opposite sides of the canyon. Equal ground, no advantage, and then they began. Not with anger, not with hate, but with focus. They rushed forward, blades flashing in the dim light. Toran attacked with quick strikes, measured and sharp. Vela countered with flowing moves, like wind wrapping around stone. Blades clashed, feet kicked up dust, breaths grew fast, but their minds stayed calm. They were not trying to kill. They were trying to test, to prove something, that they had both grown, beyond orders. At one point, Vela pushed Toran back against the canyon wall. He dropped his blade, but instead of finishing the strike, she stepped back and waited. He smiled and picked it up. "No mercy today?" he asked. "No need," she replied. "You're already learning." They clashed again, stronger now. This time Toran's blade sliced her cloak, but missed her shoulder by inches. She smiled. Closer. Suddenly, the ground shook. A low rumble echoed through the canyon. They both stopped. "What was that?" Vela asked. Toran looked around. "That wasn't me." The shaking grew louder. Then a blast of heat came from above. They rushed out of the canyon and looked toward the sky. Black ships, dozens of them, falling toward the planet like burning knives. Vela's eyes widened. "That's not yours?" Toran shook his head. "I thought you called them." "No," she said quickly. "I didn't send anything." The first ship landed near the canyon, then exploded, throwing fire across the rocks. They both ran, side by side, dodging falling debris. "What are these?" Toran shouted. Vela answered, "Vorak raiders, third-party killers. They don't work for anyone. They destroy everything." Toran pulled out his signal jammer and crushed it under his boot. "They must have tracked our signals." More ships landed. Dark figures began pouring out, creatures in bone-like armor, holding plasma blades and guns. Vela and Toran ducked behind a stone wall. Toran said, "They're here to kill us both." Vela nodded. "We need to move." Together, they ran through the canyon's side tunnels. Behind them, fire and explosions lit up the sky. Toran fired a few shots from a small backup weapon, taking down 2 raiders. Vela leapt through the air, slicing through others. They fought together, not as enemies, but as one. "Back to the ship?" Toran asked. Vela replied, "Mine's closer. Follow me." They reached her ship after a long fight through broken rock and falling metal. Both were bruised, cut, and tired. As the ramp opened, Vela turned to him. You still want to finish our test? She asked with a smirk. Toran chuckled, wiping dust from his face. Later. They jumped aboard, and the ship launched into the sky just as more Vorak bombs hit the planet. From space, they watched Raxa burn. Silence filled the ship. Vela sat in the pilot chair. Toran stood behind her. We were never the real enemies, he said. No, she agreed. We were distractions. Toran looked at her. Maybe we're better together than apart. Vela looked forward, then slowly nodded. The galaxy was changing, and perhaps they were changing too. Toran sat near the window, watching the stars. His arm was bandaged. His chest hurt from the fight. But his mind was clear. Beside him, Vela moved quietly around the ship controls. Her blade rested on a table nearby. She was not wearing her usual armor, just a thin suit made for light movement. No one spoke. They had escaped planet Raxa together, not as enemies, but as survivors. And now, something had changed between them. After a while, Vela broke the silence. They wanted us both dead, Toran nodded. The Vorak don't care who they kill, human or Sithari, soldier or assassin. Vela looked at him. But they didn't come by chance. Someone told them we'd be on Raxa. Toran frowned. A spy? Or someone who fears what we've become, Vela said. Two fighters learning from each other, fighting less, thinking more. Toran stood. Then we need answers. Fast. Vela nodded. There's one place we can start. The ship landed on a small station called Viren's Edge, built between two asteroid belts. It was old and full of smugglers, broken robots, and people who asked no questions. Vela led Toran through the dark halls to a hidden room behind a weapons shop. Inside sat an old alien named Goro, half machine, half flesh. One of his eyes blinked red, scanning everything. He was once a spy for many sides. Now, he sold secrets for a price. Goro laughed when he saw them. Human and Sithari side by side. The galaxy truly is changing. Toran said, We need info. Who sent the Vorak? Goro grinned. Of course you do. That information costs something. Vela placed a silver coin on the table. How about your life? Goro chuckled. Fair enough. He pressed a button. A hologram appeared. It showed a name neither Toran nor Vela expected. Central Command, Alliance Sector 7. Toran stepped back. That's human territory. Goro nodded. Your leaders, not hers. They marked both of you as unstable threats. Vela narrowed her eyes. Why? Because, Goro said, you're thinking for yourselves. You're not following. Old orders, that scares them. Back on the ship, Toran sat in silence. His own people had tried to kill him, not because he failed, but because he changed, because he chose to understand an enemy. Vela sat across from him. We were never fighting for ourselves, she said softly. We were weapons, tools. Toran looked at her. Not anymore, she nodded. No, now we choose our own war. They left Viren's Edge and headed toward a neutral planet called Halros, a quiet place full of refugees, farmers, and peaceful scientists. But peace never lasted long. As they entered the Halros orbit, Toran saw smoke rising from the green fields. Below, fires, crashed ships, dead silence on the comms. Vela checked the scanner. Vorak again. They attacked without warning. Toran's eyes narrowed. They're hunting anyone not controlled by the big powers. Halros had no army, Vela said. Just innocent lives. Toran looked at her. Then we help them. Vela didn't argue. They landed near a burning town. People were hiding in broken buildings. Children cried. Fires spread quickly. Toran jumped out first, helping a wounded man walk to safety. Vela used her speed to rescue two trapped miners from a collapsed tunnel. Then the Vorak came. Dozens of them, with red eyes and sharp armor, moved through the smoke like shadows. Toran picked up a fallen rifle and fired carefully, hitting targets with clean shots. Vela moved fast between enemies, her blade glowing as she cut down attackers. They fought side by side, not as soldier and assassin, but as defenders. At one point, Toran saw a group of children trapped inside a small building. A Vorak warrior aimed, a weapon at them. Toran didn't think. He ran, jumped in front of them, and raised his blade, but before the Vorak could strike, Vela appeared. She threw a blast bomb she had taken from the ship. It hit the ground and exploded with bright light. The Vorak fell back, confused. Toran pulled the children to safety. They both stood there, back to back, surrounded by dust and flame. "You saved them," Toran said. Vela replied, "You would have done the same." After the battle, the sun set over Halros. The village was damaged but saved. Toran sat near a small fire, wrapping a cut on his hand. Vela sat beside him, sharpening her blade. He looked at her. "You fight like a human now." She smirked. "You move like a Sithari." They both laughed, quietly but real. Toran asked, "What now? Do we keep running?" Vela shook her head. "No, we stop running. We find the real enemy, the ones giving orders in shadows, the ones sending the Vorak." Toran nodded. "And we stop them." She looked at him. "Together?" "Together," he said. Above them, the stars blinked again. Somewhere in the galaxy, powerful people watched and feared what they had become. Two enemies who no longer hated each other. Two weapons that had found their own path. And soon, they would bring war to those who tried to control them. The cold metal halls of Alliance Sector 7 felt different this time. Quiet, empty, like a calm before a storm. Toran and Vela moved side by side, their footsteps echoing softly. This was the heart of the place that had tried to control them both, the place that had sent the Vorak raiders after them. They did not come as enemies anymore. They came as partners, warriors who had learned trust from the hardest lessons. Toran's hand brushed the short blade at his belt. Vela's fingers touched her glowing sword. They exchanged a glance. This was the final strike. Deep inside the command center, powerful leaders watched screens filled with alarms. "Two of our best soldiers are working together," the commander said in disbelief. "They have become threats to us all. Shall we send more Vorak?" An officer asked. The commander shook his head. "No. It's time to face them ourselves." Toran and Vela moved swiftly through the corridors. Security robots scanned them, but Vela's speed and Toran's quick thinking helped them avoid detection. Finally, they reached the central control room. Inside, a tall man in a white uniform stood waiting. "Welcome," he said. "I am General Cray." Toran stepped forward. "We know what you've done, sending killers after us, trying to control free minds." Vela's eyes glowed softly. "We are not your weapons." General Cray smiled coldly. "You never understood the bigger picture. Control is order. Without it, chaos rules." Toran shook his head. "Real strength is choice, freedom." Cray raised his hand. Suddenly, alarms blared and security doors locked. "Your fight ends here." Vela moved fast, throwing a blast bomb that cracked the wall. Toran charged forward, blade flashing. The battle had begun. Cray was strong, but he was not a fighter. Toran and Vela moved as one. Toran distracted, while Vela attacked from the side. Steel clashed, blasts echoed, but they fought with more than strength, with trust, with understanding, with hope. At one moment, Cray grabbed Vela's arm and twisted. Toran saw this and rushed. With a quick strike, he cut Cray's hold. Vela twisted free and slammed her blade near Cray's neck. "Enough," she said. Cray fell to his knees, breathing hard. "You may have won this battle," he said, "but the war for control will never end." Toran helped Vela stand. "We'll be ready," Toran said. Outside the command center, people had gathered. They had heard of the battle, and now hope grew. For the first time, many felt that change was possible, that freedom could win. Later, on a small hill outside the city, Toran and Vela looked up at the stars. "We fought well," Toran said. Vela nodded. "But more than that, we fought together." He smiled. "Maybe enemies can become allies." She smiled back. "Or even friends." The twin suns rose again, lighting the world with new hope. A new story had begun, one where the bullet missed, where the blade found not an enemy, but a partner, where choice was stronger than fear, and where two warriors from different worlds walked a path together. The cold metal halls of Alliance Sector 7 felt different this time. Quiet, empty, like a calm before a storm. Toran and Vela moved side by side, their footsteps echoing softly. This was the heart of the place that had tried to control them both, the place that had sent the Vorak raiders after them. They did not come as enemies anymore. They came as partners, warriors who had learned trust from the hardest lessons. Toran's hand brushed the short blade at his belt. Vela's fingers touched her glowing sword. They exchanged a glance. This was the final strike. Deep inside the command center, powerful leaders watched screens filled with alarms. "Two of our best soldiers are working together," the commander said in disbelief. "They have become threats to us all. Shall we send more, Vorak?" An officer asked. The commander shook his head. "No. It's time to face them ourselves." Toran and Vela moved swiftly through the corridors. Security robots scanned them, but Vela's speed and Toran's quick thinking helped them avoid detection. Finally, they reached the central control room. Inside, a tall man in a white uniform stood waiting. "Welcome," he said. "I am General Cray." Toran stepped forward. "We know what you've done, sending killers after us, trying to control free minds." Vela's eyes glowed softly. "We are not your weapons." General Cray smiled coldly. "You never understood the bigger picture. Control is order. Without it, chaos rules." Toran shook his head. "Real strength is choice, freedom." Cray raised his hand. Suddenly, alarms blared and security doors locked. "Your fight ends here." Vela moved fast, throwing a blast bomb that cracked the wall. Toran charged forward, blade flashing. The battle had begun. Cray was strong, but he was not a fighter. Toran and Vela moved as one. Toran distracted, while Vela attacked from the side. Steel clashed, blasts echoed, but they fought with more than strength, with trust, with understanding, with hope. At one moment, Cray grabbed Vela's arm and twisted. Toran saw this and rushed. With a quick strike, he cut Cray's hold. Vela twisted free and slammed her blade near Cray's neck. "Enough," she said. Cray fell to his knees, breathing hard. "You may have won this battle," he said, "but the war for control will never end." Toran helped Vela stand. "We'll be ready," Toran said. Outside the command center, people had gathered. They had heard of the battle, and now hope grew. For the first time, many felt that change was possible, that freedom could win. Later, on a small hill outside the city, Toran and Vela looked up at the stars. "We fought well," Toran said. Vela nodded. "But more than that, we fought together." He smiled. "Maybe enemies can become allies." She smiled back. "Or even friends." The twin suns rose again, lighting the world with new hope. A new story had begun, one where the bullet missed, where the blade found not an enemy, but a partner, where choice was stronger than fear, and where two warriors from different worlds walked a path together.